Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and a very warm welcome to Evolving Consciousness. Today, we are going to talk about a man who needs no introduction. He is a man who the whole world reveres. He is a man who was so powerful, though life gifted him a brief span of time, but his brief span on this planet was so impactful, so powerful was the personality which we are going to talk about today, that till the time the sun, moon, and planets are going to exist, his name is going to thrive. His legacy is going to be remembered for many generations. The name of this person, a person who I deeply respect and adore, a person whose birthday is being celebrated nationwide in our country as National Youth Day. Yes, you guessed it right. I am talking about the great Swami Vivekananda. Now, this person was so magnanimous, the way he conducted himself, the words he spoke, his teachings. Rabindranath Tagore told, if you want to understand India, study Swami Vivekananda. For him to tell this, for him to put all the burden of the mighty understandings of India on the shoulder of a particular personality, do we even understand how huge and how mammoth that is? Now, Swami Vivekananda is one person whose words, as per Roman Roland, a French novelist, he said that his words were like, it almost felt like you get an electric shock in your body. His words were so tantalizing and mesmerizing at the same time, because it spoke to an inner dimension within you. It spoke to your conscious. Now I am going to share this very famous story which probably some of you would have heard of. This story dates back to 1893 at the World Parliament of Religion, where Swamiji was the representative of India. Now this man in his early 30s, dressed up as someone quite unorthodox as per the customs of that particular state, that particular country. People were seeing Swamiji through a very biased mindset, thinking, who is this ascetic, who is this person going to talk? They had this preconceived notion about this person. But when Swamiji took the podium and he told those famous words, which have the potential to bring up goosebumps to anyone who even thinks about that situation, when he said brothers and sisters, everyone stood up automatically. They didn't know who this person was. But there was something so powerful, so mesmerizing in that word, in those words, through the person through which it was being projected, that automatically people stood up. One video or tons of video is less to fully express the magnificence of this personality. But today's video is my humble attempt to sort of capture top 5 lessons which I got from his teachings, and which are those teachings which will tremendously benefit a person from any walk of life. Hello everyone, I am Pushottam and this is Evolving Consciousness. If you are visiting this channel for the very first time, in this channel we talk about everything which uplifts your consciousness, things which will help you develop yourself into a better personality, so that you become this force to reckon with. You become this unpalpable, undefeatable. You are able to awaken the warrior within you. Because let's remember, the person who instilled the power of what Indian culture, Indian spiritual teachings was, is none other than the person who's been revered across the planet. His fame and name is not confined to India alone. There hardly could be any person in this world of ours who doesn't know this person. India is known through the name of this person. Now let's get back to the central crux of this person. His biography is something which everyone can read and relish and take innumerable lessons. I mean, the amount of learnings which we can get from Swamiji's life is probably infinite. But we are going to focus our attention on top 5 of his teachings, which will make absolute pragmatic sense to each one of us, which can be implemented in any walk of life, in any dimension of life. Quote number 1, which is probably the most famous quote of Swamiji. He says, "Arise awake and stop not till the goal is reached." Now, this quote, when somebody hears, right, it feels like it's a very non-fun quote, or maybe you're being asked to stretch your powers of willpower and discipline. But actually, if you deeply understand the meaning of this quote, Swamiji wanted us to understand the importance of having goal and a central purpose in life. Because if you understand central purpose and having goals in life serve as antidote to people who constantly are fidgety, people who get fizzled out when they encounter the challenges of life. The sage Patanjali said that a person who has a great purpose, dormant forces within the universe awaken to assist such a person. And when he says arise, awake and stop not till the goal is reached, he's trying to emphasize that most human beings are sleeping in this deep slumber of ignorance. And when he says arise, awake, he says he wants to bring the awareness into our consciousness as to what our goals are. Now, when we talk about goals, right, most of us think we are only talking about goals in work, goals in the professional dimension. But no, we are not only talking about goals in the professional dimension. Your goal might be to be happy. Your goal might be to lead a fulfilling life. Whatever your goal is your thoughts, actions, feelings, beliefs aligned in a way which can help you, facilitate you in achieving that goal? If not, then why not? Right? You need to ask yourself this question. Whole point of his quote, arise, awake and stop not till the goal is reached, is to push us from that deep slumber which we are in. And he says that goals, today modern day psychologists, they have this entire study which sort of gives up the same point, which resonates with the teaching of what the great Vivekananda said. They say that people who have streamlined goals in their life, whether it be in their health dimension or the professional dimension, those are the people who are happy, productive and fulfilled. And the chances of them being depressed are phenomenally lower as compared to a person who is directionless and headless. Hence, it is extremely important to have goals in life. Now, it's not important whether we achieve those goals or the timeline through which we achieve those goals. The important thing is the kind of person you become in trying to achieve those goals, the character you forge in trying to become that person in trying to reach that goal. That is the true reward. It's not even necessary for you to achieve the exact goal as per your wish and as per your belief, but the kind of person you become in trying to reach that goal, that is the true reward. Hope this quote sinked into your consciousness, in your awareness, and hope now you have enough reason to question yourself as to what can be the goals in my life, what can be the central purpose, the central theme of my life. Let's go to quote number 2, which resonates with me deeply. He says, take up one idea and make it part of your muscles, make it part of your nerves, make it part of your blood, make it part of every cell in your body. Now, what is he trying to push us towards? He's trying to push us towards this zone of exclusivity. Normally, we live in a world of extreme distraction, where our focus is so limited that we cannot be without our cell phones, even for probably not even 15 minutes. We have become so hijacked with the addiction of social media, of the urge to constantly keep checking our phones, that focus has become a prized commodity. And one thing we need to understand, whether you are someone who's pursuing lofty goals in the material dimension or someone who's aspiring for lofty spiritual goals, right? Spiritual ideals. Without focus, without having that monomaniacal focus to the exclusion of everything else, it's not possible. You can't achieve. Even if you study people who have been extremely successful in the material world, this is one of the key qualities they had. And that's what Swamiji is preaching. Just understand the intensity through which he is giving this power. When he says make it a part of your blood, make it a part of your soul, he's trying to push us towards that power of focus. He's trying to make us understand how powerful focus is. And we all have heard of that practical example wherein the dispersed sunlight is useless, and when we have a magnifying glass, and that magnifying glass, when focused, can burn the paper. We have all heard this, but we are still addicted to distractions. We are busy being busy without even actually contemplating what are the things I'm really being busy. Am I just trying to be busy? Or am I pursuing something worthy? Hope this quote sinked in again, because all his words, right, as Roman Roland said, has the potential to electrify your consciousness. It fills you with a deep sense of enthusiasm and also a deep sense of humility and respect towards the values and cultures which was being preached in this holy land. Coming to quote number 3, he gave a secret to immortality. No, he didn't give any recipe for a vaccine which can make you immortal. But he said something very interesting. He said that a person can become immortal, a person who is not affected by the material things. He is the person who can become immortal. Now, when we hear this, right, now let's not take it from a very direct standpoint, not from a very literal standpoint. We need to go deeper into this quote and try to see how we can relate this quote in our day-to-day life. Now, when we talk about immortality, right, he's not talking about the physical dimension of immortality. He's talking a dimension which of your psychological standpoint. He's talking from a psychological standpoint. A person who is unearthed by his circumstances don't dictate the current state of his mind. That person is strong, that person is powerful. Hence, he is immortal from the sense of consciousness. Look at Swamiji, though he had an extremely brief lifespan, his teachings, his presence, his power, is still immortal. His legacy is going to be remembered till humans are ever going to be, right? He is always going to be remembered. Reason is, he knew the secret to immortality. Quote number 4. Now, this is something which is very interesting. He says, each work has to pass through 3 stages: ridicule, opposition, and acceptance. This is what has happened in the life of legends as well. There's going to be tremendous opposition to you when you charter the roads less traveled. But that initial ridicule is a sign for you that you're doing great. There's going to be opposition. You're going to have haters. But after a certain period of time, you're going to be accepted. This is something which happened with the Narendra of that time and the Narendra of today's world as well. You know who I am talking about. Hence, it is very important that we don't pull ourselves down at the sight of a small ridicule, at the sight of countless ridicules. I am reminded of a situation which arose in Swamiji's life when he entered the world parliament of religions. He noticed something very important and strange, right? He saw that they had compiled these different books of religion, and he saw that Bhagavad Gita was kept at the lowest place, right? It was sort of positioned at the lowest, wherein all the other books were stacked upon it. If it were you and me, we would be agitated. We would consider that as a sign of disrespect. But you know what Swamiji told? He said, wow, such a strong foundation to host all the other books of religion. Now that was his mindset. He could completely transform a negative seeming situation to his own advantage. That was his power. He said something beautiful. He said, we are what our thoughts have made us. So think the right thoughts. Words and actions come later. Thoughts travel far. Now it's very interesting and amusing that a person who lived in an era where science and research was not so fully developed, but he gave teachings which are now being validated and verified in today's modern scientific research. Today's whole aspect of quantum physics is, if you research what is butterfly effect, you will understand what I am talking about. Now, to give a very layman definition, butterfly effect is the situation or a phenomena where a butterfly flapping its wings somewhere in an isolated location has the capacity, the capability to produce a volcano effect somewhere unconnected. So the basic point which this effect is trying to portray or convey is that we live in a world which is heavily interconnected. And what is visible to the naked eye is only 5%. 95% of the content of this world, of the interactions which are happening in this world, are happening at a subtle dimension, which are not visible to the naked eye. Nikola Tesla also confirmed this. He said, if you want to understand the secrets of the universe, think in terms of energy and vibration. Have you ever wondered, why does a person feel good or feel serene or tranquil when he visits a place of pilgrimage? When you visit a temple, you may be an atheist or not an atheist. You suddenly feel those vibes of peace and tranquility. And if you are someone who has been to a place where there has not been such rich thoughts which are more animalistic, you can sense the feeling of heaviness there. Now, what is this phenomenon? How does science explain this? Or if you go to a place where an atmosphere of mourning has been happening, right? You visit a place where death has happened, or a place where some massive tragedy has happened, you can almost sense that feeling of negativity. Now, what is happening here? Nothing is being preached, nothing is being talked about, but energy is always there in subtler elements, in subtler dimensions. It's always affecting us. Now science has also proved that every space has a certain energy signature. This is something which he told when all these talks were not even at the viewpoint, at the center point of scientific research. Now this is something very interesting, right? And it makes my heart try to swell with the vast amount of vision and knowledge our ancient seers had. There are tremendous scientific evidences. Let me give you one example. Way before the scientific community accepted that the world is round, our scriptures depicted a circular ball which was called bhugol. Bhugol means a circle, a sphere. Now this was told way before the modern day scientists declared that the earth is not flat. How is this even possible? There is a great video which I will keep the link of that video in the description box of this video. It's called Technology of Spirituality. It's hosted by Kushit Bhatliawala, wherein he gives a lot of case studies and a lot of history of how many things our ancient seers knew, which now the scientific community is validating. That's a breathtaking video to watch and go through and feel proud about the rich heritage of this pristine land. Now coming back to our teachings of Vivekananda, right? And he said something beautiful, this entire concept of servant leadership. He said that if you want to be truly powerful, if you want to be a true leader, act through the place of servant leadership. He said that if you are completely unselfish, if you will be perfect, then you will be perfect without even reading a single spiritual book, without visiting any church mosque or any temple. If you are perfectly unselfish by default, you are already a great personality. And this whole concept of servant leadership, the theme of this concept is when you have this attitude that you are not serving a person so that you inflate your ego, you are grateful for that person to give you an opportunity to serve him. That is the frame of mind through which this philosophy of servant leadership operates through. Because oftentimes when we engage in doing helpful things, we consciously or unconsciously we get a sense of entitlement that I have done such good things to this person. But my friend, if that person didn't give you that opportunity to serve him, how would you serve a person? So thank the person who gives you the opportunity to be of service to him. Instead of feeling a false sense of bravado, instead of feeling a false sense of ego. And if you look at the world's top leaders, even in today's world, Narendra Modi, now I am not going to go into the political dimension, but one thing you will learn, he also operates with this philosophy of servant leadership. Because if you operate through this thought process of service, through this philanthropic mindset, then automatically your leadership, your power, your magnanimity is going to be displayed in the most exemplary forms possible. I hope these teachings resonated with you, and one video cannot do justice for the great works of Vivekananda, but I hope this video at least inspired you to go through the work of his phenomenal personality, so that his mind, his thoughts can bring about a shift in your own consciousness. Thank you so much, and if you really enjoyed the content, don't forget to share this content with 3 of your friends, and also don't forget to subscribe to this channel if you enjoy this genre of content. Thank you so much, and meet you in the next video.